Hello, my name is Keanu Kapana, and the career field that I chose to interview is athletic training. Why did I choose athletic training? I chose to interview athletic trainers because I played sports my whole life, and being involved in sports is something that I want to continue when I'm done with college. The two people that I interviewed is through HPU Athletics, the head athletic trainer, and the current baseball athletic trainer. These are some of the questions that I asked and interviewed. For example, why did you choose to go into this field? How did you get your current job? Everything to what does your typical workday look like? So the first question, why did you choose to go into your field? He said, I realized that I wanted to become an athletic trainer when I injured my shoulder in high school water polo. When I went into my high school athletic training room following my injury, I was amazed at the amount of knowledge possessed by the athletic trainers who evaluated my injury. I decided at that moment that I wanted to know about the body and to help others overcome their injuries. How did you get your current job? After I finished graduate school at Eastern Kentucky University, I started applying for jobs all over the country. When I was at the NATA, the National Athletic Trainers Association convention in Atlanta in 2006, the former HPU head athletic trainer called me to set up an interview. After we met, I knew HPU would be a good fit for me, and I got the job. Describe how consistent your role is with what you thought it would be when you first started your job. Coming from a good athletic training program at Eastern Kentucky University, I pretty much knew exactly what I was getting into when I started at HPU. What did you wish you had learned in school that would have better prepared you for being successful? I think that having more opportunities to work with insurance paperwork would have made me more comfortable in my job now. I find that every time I deal with insurance companies, I learn something new about the process. I don't think that I could have learned anything about insurance from my college education, but being forced to handle insurance claims during my internship could have helped prepare me better for my professional career. What advice could you give me as I plan for my graduation? Developing and nurturing your connections are key to finding a job and being a successful graduate. I can't emphasize enough on how important it is to network and talk to people in your field. I landed my second job at Pro Performance Lab Orthopedic by networking and actually going into the office at Orthopedic Associates, knowing that I was younger and less qualified than what they were looking for, and asking to meet with one of the partners just to give them my resume and have a sit-down chat with them. Which leads me to my second piece of advice. People are much more likely to give you a chance when they can put a face to a name. Make a good first impression, and that will put you at the top of their list. If the employer has a face and a personality to match to a name, you will a lot of times jump ahead of applicants that are more qualified than you are. What do you like the most about your current role? I love the freedom that I have to treat my athletes with the skills that I possess. I have picked up a lot of useful techniques that I utilize on my day-to-day treatments of my athletes, and I love being able to use them without someone telling me how I must do them. I think that the most rewarding thing about my job is to help an injured athlete, in an emergency situation or not, and being able to help them to return to competition. Nothing is more satisfying than seeing one of your athletes competing after putting so much time and effort into progressing them back to play safely. What do you like the least or most challenging about your current role? My work day changes a lot depending on what time of the year it is. Typically, I come into the office and do a couple hours of treatment and admin work before I head out to practice for the day. There are times I may have to take an athlete to the doctor's appointment to something else, but most of the day revolves around treatments and practice game coverage. What does your typical workday look like? It depends on what season and time I am working with. In the fall, I work with volleyball, and my hours are typically Monday through Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. with the exception of game days and travel days with trips to the mainland. In the spring, I work with baseball, and I typically work 7 days a week, 10 a.m. or 12 p.m. to 6:45 p.m., with the exception of games going till midnight and the occasional days off. I travel much more with the baseball team, often going on trips from 5 days up to 2 weeks. What professional organizations do you belong to, and why are these memberships beneficial or not? I belong to the NATA, the National Athletic Trainers Association, and it is very beneficial to to be a member. It allows me to receive news about my profession and keep me up to date with important topics such as concussion, new standards of care, as well as new ideas which I can choose to incorporate into my treatment plans for my athletes. It allows me to stay up to date and provide the best possible care for my athletes. So this is my presentation on athletic training. Once again, I chose this career field because I've played sports ever since I was 5 years old, and being involved in sports is something that I want to do in the future. Something like athletic training or physical therapist, and just like things like physical education that I can teach athletes. I hope you like my presentation, and good luck to y'all.